The campus beauty that 4 billion boys in the school secretly love. At this moment, she is sucking on the mint flavor in my mouth. She even tries to pry my teeth open. But I, completely taken aback. Xiao Chuan turns around and tells the campus beauty that we are not familiar with each other. Just because I dream of going on dates with her every night. Yet in reality, I am someone who hasn't even held a girl's hand. An innocent college boy who hasn't touched one. At this moment, just waking up from a dream. I still feel a bit unsatisfied. So this is what kissing feels like. The girl's lips are really soft. But realizing that it was just a dream, I start to feel sad again. After all, it was just a dream. No matter how realistic, a dream is still a dream. How could an ordinary person like me possibly be liked by the campus beauty? I looked at my phone and was surprised it was already this time. I hurriedly got out of bed, tidied up, and changed into my jersey. After all, I have to attend the basketball game this afternoon. Although I'm just a substitute, I might not even get any playing time. But I promised Chuangzhang, and I can't go back on my word. At this moment, Chu Yunshu in the girls' dormitory has just woken up. She still looks a bit dazed. She brushes her finger across her lips. Is kissing supposed to feel like this? I have never had any experience in love. I really can't tell the difference between this kiss in my dream. What is the difference between it and a real kiss? Why is it always him? We've never even exchanged a word in reality. Why do I keep dreaming about a classmate I don't even know? Yunshu, you're awake. Her clinical roommate, seeing her awake, hurriedly came over and knelt on the bed with a thud. What are you doing? Chu Yunshu's voice is a bit flustered. Yunshu, you have to help me. I've already made exaggerated claims. I said you would definitely go to watch our department's basketball game. Just take a look, okay? It's fine if you just stand there for a moment and then leave. Just consider it a favor for me, alright? Chu Yunshu then remembered that this was how it was. It seems that there's indeed a basketball game this afternoon in the department. But I have no interest at all in basketball games. Nor do I see any other girls watching basketball boys. That feeling of first love stirring. Xiaoyi, just let me off the hook. I'm really not interested in basketball. All the handsome guys from the department will be going today. I've already promised them. Just do me a favor and support our department, okay? He took out his phone, tapped it a couple of times, and handed it to Chu Yunshu. Yunshu, look. All the handsome guys in the department will be going. Just take a look, it's fine. I'm really not interested at all. Chu Yunshu politely took the phone. I was thinking of just scrolling a bit symbolically and then returning it to her. But then, just like that, Chu Yunshu saw a name that was so familiar it was dazzling. The telecommunications department substitute Jiang Shusi. The moment she saw this name, Chu Yunshu instinctively pressed her lips together. As if the sensation of lips in a dream was brought back to reality in that instant. Yunshu Yunshu. The fuzzy sound in her ears became clear. There was also a hand gently swaying in front of her. Chu Yunshu suddenly came to her senses and looked at Xiaoyi. What's wrong? I noticed you haven't spoken for a while. And your face is all red. Are you feeling unwell? If you're not feeling well, just forget it. I won't go either, I'll stay in the dorm with you. It's nothing, maybe it's just too hot. Chu Yunshu quickly touched her cheek with the back of her hand. She shifted the topic amid the heat. You've already said something big. Anyway, I have no classes in the afternoon, so let's go take a look. This won't happen again. Don't agree to others about my matters again. Yunshu is the best. Xiaoyi proudly leaped over and hugged Yunshu. Alright, hurry up and get ready. Isn't the game starting at 2:40? It's already 2:00. It's time to head out. Chu Yunshu stood in front of the mirror. She opened the wardrobe and looked at the clothes inside. Should I wear this one? She hesitated a bit. It felt like in her dream during the afternoon nap. She was wearing just this one. What if I wear it? Will he recognize this piece of clothing? The thought flashed through her mind. Chu Yunshu shook her head a little sadly. You really have a bad mind, Chu Yunshu. How could things in a dream possibly be real? Where in the world could there be such an extraordinary thing? But the more she thought that way, the more her hand uncontrollably reached out. It kept reaching for that floral dress. I'll just wear this one. Thinking not to dwell on those messy thoughts. Just treating it as what she wanted to wear. The basketball court at 2:30. I looked at the audience, which was obviously several times larger than usual. I feel very confused. Moreover, there are mostly boys from the finance college next door. This is intended to solve things off the court if we can't win on the court. With your kind of brain. I've basically said goodbye to love throughout my 4 years of college. My roommate, who is also a member, looked at me speechlessly. Of course, it's because the campus beauty Chu Yunshu will be coming. Isn't this all just taking advantage of the opportunity from the basketball game? It's a chance to feast my eyes. I pondered for a moment after hearing that and felt it made sense. And it's a very simple truth. Then why did I not think of this right away? I thought about it again and suddenly realized. It turns out I've been dreaming about Chu Yunshu every now and then. I would dream of Chu Yunshu in my dreams. So I felt meeting her wasn't anything special. This made me feel slightly proud inside. But when I think about myself in the basketball circle, there are people inside and outside the circle. Except for occasionally dreaming about Chu Yunshu, there's no difference at all. I feel a bit sad again. The two groups of people on the court are nearly assembled. On one side, there are the telecommunications team in blue jerseys. On the other side, the finance and mathematics department in red jerseys. The men from the telecommunications department are big and burly. They are about 1.9 meters tall and weigh nearly 180 kilograms. It's like standing up with a dump truck. It only takes a small run-up to send your physical body to another world. Suddenly, the layers of spectators outside created a stir. In a wave of gasps rising and falling. In a state of astonishment, 100 girls made their way through the crowd to the edge of the stands. Chu Yunshu, in a bag of floral skirts, emerged. She instantly became the center of attention for everyone. I was a bit shocked seeing Chu Yunshu in the crowd. How could she be wearing this outfit? Isn't this just what I dreamed of wearing during my nap? The outfit I wore on a date with Chu Yunshu in my dream? Could it be that? It's impossible. Immediately, I denied this absurd idea in my mind. Such ridiculous things. I must have seen Chu Yunshu in this outfit before. I have a subconscious impression. Then, I dreamt about it after thinking about it during the day. Yunshu, what are you looking at? Xiaoyi noticed that after arriving at the basketball court, Chu Yunshu had been quietly glancing around. Chu Yunshu has been quietly looking around. It seems like she's a bit nervous. Chu Yunshu instinctively blurted out, I'm here. The person is over there. Xiaoyi pointed to the tense scene on the basketball court. The red and blue groups on the basketball court. But their gazes remained fixed on Chu Yunshu. They thought, this girl is actually quite impressive for having brought the campus beauty here. Chu Yunshu's gaze suddenly caught on. Really managed to impress the campus beauty. Chu Yunshu's gaze instantly caught on. On the sidelines, Jiang Shusi looked just like the one in my dreams. He was exactly the same as in my dream. Whether it was his build or demeanor, it was eerily similar. It felt as if the dream version of him had stepped into reality. It's really strange. Clearly, I'm not familiar with this junior at all. Why would I have such a vivid dream? But thinking back on all the little details from my dreams over the past year, it still makes my heart race. I saw it. Chu Yunshu's determined tone, accompanied by a faint smile at the corners of her mouth. Xiaoyi was left dumbfounded. Her little mouth was agape as if it could hold something. Yunshu actually smiled. After all, she saw him. Cui Jin walked in front of Li Jingtang, blocking his view. Don't look. Everyone is here, we can start now. Cui Jin didn't expect you would actually bring the campus beauty. I've brought everyone here to cheer for you. You're really going all out. It wasn't me who called. How could I possibly have the face to attract the campus beauty? If it's not you, then who is it? Li Jingtang was taken aback. He glanced at the boys from the telecommunications department on and off the court. For a moment, he was unsure. But with his rich emotional experience, he could be sure that a girl like Chu Yunshu must be here to watch the game because of some guy. The telecommunications department versus the financial mathematics department. The basketball game has officially begun. Once the players got into the groove, almost everyone performed exceptionally well. I don't know if it's because the campus beauty is watching from the sidelines. Read the book of words. But I feel like she keeps looking my way. My roommate next to me looked really excited. He thinks his jacket is making a difference. This is the same style as Peng Yuyan's. In reality, Chu Yunshu was only observing Jiang Shusi's reaction. In fact, Chu Yunshu was just observing Jiang Shusi's reaction. Do you really have no feelings for this floral dress? Chu Yunshu looked somewhat disappointed. After all, a dream is just a dream. It's truly crazy when fantasies come into reality. It must be the recent pressure from studying. And the relationship with my sister has worsened again. It must have caused psychological problems. During the halftime break, the student acting as the referee called for a stop. The halftime score is 42-27. The telecommunications department is leading by a wide margin. Cui Jin looked at his teammates with newfound respect. He laughed and fist-bumped them. Not bad, guys. You all performed really well today. Let's keep it up in the second half. Give it to them. Before he could finish speaking, a sweet voice from a girl was heard, echoing from the sidelines. Darling, are you tired? Have some water. Everyone turned to look in the direction of the voice. They found it was a girl from the financial mathematics department, who brought water for her boyfriend. The boy took the mineral water and gulped it down. The girl's appearance is plain, but her tone is gentle. She clenches her little fist to cheer him on. Come on, my dear Chuan, do well in the second half of the game. We will definitely win against them. The people from the telecommunications department immediately felt. The water in their hands suddenly became unappetizing. Li Jingtang noticed the reaction from the telecommunications department. He smirked and tilted his head towards the sidelines. Thus, the girls from the finance department, who had been prepared, rushed to bring water to their boyfriends. For a moment, the soup noodles made others envious to no end. How can this be considered a psychological attack? Just play the game. What is this all about? The people from the telecommunications department felt bitter tears, almost streaming from the corners of their mouths. Xiaoyi, seeing this scene, also immediately ran over to the nearby vending machine. He bought a lot of bottled water and returned. He handed them out one by one to the girls from the telecommunications department who were watching the fun. Everyone, please help out. We can't let the finance department outdo us. Xiaoyi distributed water while rallying everyone. Let's consider it as earning some face for our department. Don't let the other departments think that our boys don't have anyone looking out for them. That no one cares about the boys here. These girls, look at me. I'll look at you. Actually, I kind of have that thought as well. But girls are somewhat shy. At that moment, Chu Yunshu took a bottle of mineral water from Xiaoyi's arms. She took a bottle of mineral water. She then said to the girls from the finance department, since it's a match between our telecommunications department and the financial mathematics department, then, we can't afford to lose in any aspect. Once she said this, not only did the girls beside her gain confidence, even the originally dispirited players from the telecommunications department, the atmosphere was instantly lifted. They became excited. Li Jingtang frowned slightly. I didn't expect Chu Yunshu would actually come down to the court. It's different from what I heard. With her personality, she shouldn't be so proactive. The players from the telecommunications department were all very excited. So, who will receive the bottle of water from the campus beauty? Shan Hui has this honor and is hated by all the boys in the school. It seems like Chu Yunshu is walking towards me. I was slightly taken aback. That familiar floral dress, accompanied by a gentle breeze as she walks, and that increasingly closer figure. Chu Yunshu stopped right in front of me. Her two small hands were behind her back, holding a slightly deformed bottle of mineral water in her grasp. I was stunned for a moment before I realized and stood up. I brushed off the dust from my pants. This feeling that cannot be described in words. What is this surge of emotions? Why is Chu Yunshu standing in front of me? Here you go. This is the first time in reality that Chu Yunshu is with me. Her beautifully shaped eyelashes tremble slightly as she speaks. His long fingers are somewhat at a loss. Neither of them dares to look directly at each other. You're welcome. I hurriedly thanked her as I took the bottle of water. Chu Yunshu broke into a smile. Thanks. You too. After saying that, she walked lightly back to the soup area. During this time, the entire area was silent, not a peep. Everyone seemed to be processing what had just happened. Someone was the first to react. Chu Yunshu actually brought a bottle of water to the boys on the bench. He didn't even raise an eyebrow. This cheering can be directed at the substitutes, right? At this moment, both sides, blue and red, were all enviously grinding their teeth. Who has the mind to focus on a game at this point? Today marked the defeat of both the telecommunications and financial mathematics departments. My roommate looked at me, gnashing his teeth in frustration. Today, he could only stammer out, "You saved her life, huh?" I sat down again. I did so slowly. It seemed like I was savoring something. Stop fantasizing. That's just the girls cheering for our boys. The girls across are supporting their boys. They're both delivering water and cheering them on. The campus beauty is just finding a way for our girls. So this water has to be delivered. But no matter who it's for, it will have a negative impact. So Chu Senior is giving this to you, an outsider who hasn't put in any effort. To avoid causing rumors. Lu Mingyu isn't the only one thinking this. Now that everyone has snapped back to reality in shock. They all think the same way. I wasn't happy to hear this. Why? If you give it to me, there won't be any rumors. If Senior gives you a bottle of water, you imagine the two of you could become a couple. What if she kisses you once? Have you even thought out where you two would go? Lu Mingyu looked at himself with a face full of disappointment. It's concerning that my brother is still single. However, my brother's luck with romance is even more infuriating. What's more annoying is that my brother is blinded by the allure of love. He can hardly recognize himself anymore. I was taken aback and actually thought seriously about this issue. Then I lowered my head and smiled gently, saying, I haven't figured out the plan yet. But I will lick my lips. I give up, bro. Lu Mingyu clasped his hands and said, life is good. Wait until you marry Chu Yunshu. I'll be your flower boy. No. I'll serve as your cannon. At that time, I'll stand there with our dorm mates. Whenever someone arrives, we'll clap loudly. I guarantee it will be louder than firecrackers. I know Lu Mingyu is making fun of himself. And I also understand why he's mocking himself. Because it's unrealistic. Chu Yunshu would have no interest in someone like him. The possibility of socializing is almost non-existent. But he is very clear about one thing. If there's no action, then that possibility is definitely zero. So before he came to this conclusion, his body had already acted very honestly. Where are you going? Lu Mingyu looked at me, who was getting up to go outside to the playground, with confusion. What are you drinking? I'm running while looking back. What drink? Lu Mingyu looked a bit dazed. Just get the Snow King's lemonade. Why did this guy suddenly want to buy me a drink? It must be my words that are truly heart-wrenching. That woke him up. He should thank me. Before long, the match ended. Xiaoyi cheered and celebrated with a few boys who gathered around. Perhaps she didn't notice that this group of boys was subtly sizing up Chu Yunshu, whether intentionally or not. Chu Yunshu also saw me leave just now, but she didn't show any emotional fluctuations on her face. I just silently sighed in my heart. Sure enough, I still don't understand this. A strange yet familiar junior. It seems the other party doesn't want to get involved with me either. Xiao Yi, let's go back. Don't do that next time. Xiao Yi tightly held on to Yunshu's arm, embracing her. He kept chuckling. He repeatedly assured that it wouldn't happen again. Several boys approached Li Jingtang. They asked him, Brother Zheng, Chu Yunshu is leaving. Aren't you going to make a move quickly? Of course, boss. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Li Jingtang pondered for a moment, then shook his head. Shaking his head, this isn't a good opportunity. There are so many people watching. Just going to hit on her like this will likely lead to failure. Maybe next time. At this moment, I rushed back holding a Snow King milk tea, looking at Chu. Yunshu was already preparing to leave, so I chased after her. Senior, wait a moment. I panted and called out to stop that figure. Chu Yunshu suddenly paused. She stopped in her tracks in an instant. Why does this voice sound so familiar? Junior, are you calling us? The first to turn around was Chu Yunshu's roommate, Xiaoyi. I was panting as I held out the milk tea in my hand. I handed it over. Senior, thank you for the water. This is a return gift. The nearest place is only Mishuai City. I'm really sorry. It's okay, it's okay. Xiaoyi smiled happily. Milk tea is all the same. I really like the pearl milk tea from Mishuai City. I know very well that the one who bought the water is the girl in front of me. The girl named Xiaoyi paid for it. Naturally, I should thank her. As for the other one, I turned to look at Chu Yunshu. Perhaps I was too shocked and hurried before. It wasn't until this moment that I could observe her up close. This senior who is both the most familiar and the most unfamiliar to me. My target is not Xiaoyi. So, naturally, I handed the milk tea to her. But my real intention wasn't just about the milk tea. It was about Senior Chu Yunshu. So when faced with Chu Yunshu, it wasn't so natural anymore. Senior Chu. Thank you. The words of thanks I prepared all along were stuck in my throat at that moment. After a long pause, all I could manage was a simple, thank you. Chu Yunshu looked at the cup of milk tea. She frowned slightly. She was just too beautiful. So stunning that even her slightest expressions were strikingly noticeable. So I immediately sensed something was off. Xiaoyi clearly knew about this. Afraid of causing a misunderstanding, he quickly explained, Junior, you may not know. Yunshu doesn't actually drink milk tea. I don't drink milk tea. I am a little sunny. I never expected that Chu Yunshu had such dietary restrictions. And coincidentally, it was just what she couldn't have. That's not right. In my dreams, Chu Yunshu didn't have such restrictions. Halfway through that thought, I denied it in my heart. Fantasies and dreams are real, just having this thought is simply madness. I'm sorry. I don't know. But before I could finish my thought, Chu Yunshu took the milk tea from my hands. Chu Yunshu looked at the milk tea in her hands. After thinking for a moment, I said, it's okay. Since it's a token of your feelings, I'll accept it. Xiaoyi was very surprised. You should know that Chu Yunshu doesn't drink milk tea at all. This is a well-known habit in the dormitory. In the past, there were plenty of suitors who sent milk tea and coffee, but Chu Yunshu never accepted them. Yet now, Chu Yunshu not only accepted it, but also seemed afraid that this junior would misunderstand. She even inserted a straw and took a small sip right there. It's very sweet. But next time, we can switch to something else. Mineral water would be just fine. I actually don't drink milk tea much on regular days. Anyway, thank you, senior. I thanked them. I turned around and left. Watching Jiang Shuxi's figure as he walked away, Xiaoyi commented, he's a very polite junior. Although he doesn't look very handsome at first glance. But surprisingly, it's quite pleasant to look at. The more you look, the more pleasant he seems. What do you think, Yunshu? When I turned back to look, I was stunned. Chu Yunshu was still sipping that cup of milk tea. Her cherry lips gently suck on the straw. Yunshu, he has already walked far away. It's fine if you don't drink it anymore. If you're too shy to throw it away, just give it to me. There's no need to force yourself. Chu Yunshu shook her head. It's not that I don't like to drink. It's just that eating too many sweet things can lead to weight gain. But when in the dream, She didn't know why her dreams felt so real. So whatever she wanted to eat or drink, she would taste in her dreams. Then there were no restrictions. So she really liked these things in her dreams. The sweet taste can bring happiness to people. Xiaoyi then asked, aren't you afraid of gaining weight? Then there's no need to force yourself. Chu Yunshu looked at the milk tea that Jiang Shusi had given her. After thinking for a moment, she decided to drink it all. 1 cup shouldn't make anyone gain weight, right? Chu Yunshu said while I subconsciously looked back. But my figure was no longer in sight. I, leaving the basketball court, hadn't had the chance to catch up with my roommate. I was stopped by someone first. I looked at this classmate whom I had only seen on the confession wall. A classmate I had seen during discussions with the girls. I don't understand why he stopped me. Li Jingtang smiled warmly. You and Cui Jin are roommates, right? Yeah. You wanted to see me for something. Cui Jin is a good person. He's also great at basketball. Today, I really lost convincingly. I know these are just polite words. Moreover, I have a strange premonition. It's like this. I just saw you deliver milk tea to Senior Chu. Li Jingtang, whether from his body language, it's still in some language details. He easily gives off a friendly vibe. He can instantly close the distance. I could tell immediately. His education is not something an average person could experience. Indeed, children from wealthy families are different. Seeing that I didn't deny it, and I didn't have the milk tea I picked up, Li Jingtang continued to ask, it seems like Senior took it. Did she say anything? Upon hearing this, I immediately understood. So, he's a rival in love. He's here to get information. He wants to know the Senior's preferences. After a brief moment of thought, I revealed a genuine smile. The Senior said it's very sweet. And then I accepted it. Li Jingtang raised an eyebrow, his face brimming with joy. So you like milk tea, huh? It's a delicate bracelet given by a kind person. The movie tickets were all turned down. I didn't expect you to like this. But why didn't my roommate mention it before? After pondering for a moment, he came back to his senses. He patted me on the shoulder. Thank you for saying all this. If it works out, I'll give you a gift. Feel free to come and hang out if you have time. Goodbye. Li Jingtang left. I was always waiting for my 2 roommates to come back. I happened to witness that scene just now. Cui Jin frowned and asked, what does Li Jingtang want from you? Lu Mingyu also stroked his chin. He pursed his lips, feeling that things weren't simple. I heard he's quite shrewd. He's someone who understands the ways of the world. It seems like he doesn't have any bad intentions. On the way back to the dorm, I kept thinking about things. I seemed preoccupied. Lu Mingyu liked to tease himself a bit. Who knew that even the nut wall could be enchanted by the alluring mushroom? Cui Jin thought this metaphor was inappropriate. Chu Yunshu is much more impressive than the enchanting mushroom. If you ask me, it was that bottle of water that enchanted Shusi. The Senior is on a whole different level. The newbie village hasn't even opened, and the final boss is already blocking the door. You've already learned how to walk and how to swing a sword. There's nothing more I can teach you. Go take down the boss at the village entrance. Lu Mingyu's voice echoed in the dorm hallway. Immediately after, there was a loud noise. Oh, the dorm door is open. Ah, Sheng is back. A guy on the upper bunk in the dorm is scrolling through short videos. I suspect that the door was broken last time. It was kicked by you. What will happen at the post? It's pretty good. I plan to take my girlfriend on a trip during the National Day holiday. Here's your package. You can just go get it yourself when you come back. I made your 3 fathers run an extra trip. Sorry. Lin Xing smiled. I received the package box that Lu Mingyu threw over. When I opened it, I saw. It was something similar to a razor. But it was much smaller than a regular manual razor. What is this? Cui Jin asked in confusion. This is the White Tiger Armor Summoner that I will use during the National Day holiday. Lin Xing didn't want to discuss privacy further. He ignored Cui Jin's puzzled expression. I leaned out from the upper bunk to look down. I sat at my desk without saying a word. Clearly, I had something on my mind. Jiang Shusi, what's wrong? I seemed distracted. Before Cui Jin could speak, Lu Mingyu was the first to answer. In the half day you were gone. Shusi is in a relationship. That's great news. I said that with Shusi's personality and looks. He shouldn't have trouble finding someone. He just isn't willing to take the first step. If Shusi needs money, he can tell me. I can't help you with studying, buddy. But when it comes to dating, I've got your back. Cui Jin looked a bit dazed. Seeing Lu Mingyu making faces at him, it took him a moment to realize. And he followed along. Exactly. He is dating. And the girl is really pretty. Lin Xing felt deeply gratified. So he quickly offered some advice. Let me share some valuable experience. Shusi, listen to me. For the first date with a girl, going out to eat, you must first scout the location. It should be a place you've been to at least once. Come on, tell me. Which department is Shusi's girlfriend from? Do I know her? Shui Xing seemed very curious and kept asking. I suddenly came to my senses. With a puzzled expression, Lu Mingyu interrupted, you definitely know her. The beautiful girl. She's from our department. Chu Yunshu. Lin Sheng was momentarily taken aback by the name. He quickly came to his senses. Damn, you tricked me again. I can't believe I actually believed you. At that moment, it was Lu Mingyu who wouldn't back down. Look at that. Why can't Shu Ci date Senior Chu? She's the campus beauty. Mu Xing said helplessly, I'm not belittling Shusi. It's just that we all know. Chu Yunshu is not in the same league as us. The campus beauty is not someone just anyone can covet. Although inner qualities are more important than appearance. But who really gets to know someone's inner self first when making friends? Lin Sheng's words plunged the dormitory into a brief silence. Cui Jin and Lu Mingyu are just ordinary guys. In the same dorm, brothers know each other well. They all know he's a good guy. But if we weren't assigned to the same dormitory, even the boys might not understand each other. How could one expect the campus beauty, adored by thousands, to give this chance for mutual understanding? To give this opportunity for each other to get to know one another? In the end, I was the one who broke the deadlock. It's nothing, don't listen to their nonsense. It was just during basketball practice in the afternoon. Senior Chu was teased into bringing water for our team members. I'm a substitute, so I didn't play, yet she brought it for me. After the game, I went to return the favor. I brought her 2 cups of milk tea. That's how it was. I have a very relaxed view on this. Besides, I'm not the kind of person who gets stuck on trivial matters. Everything goes smoothly to my liking. I won't get tangled up in anything. From the moment Chu Yunshu accepted the milk tea, I felt that the favor was returned. This matter concludes here. It's one thing to like someone in your heart. Everyone likes Chu Yunshu. This is no longer a secret. But secret crushes often don't work out. We still have class later. Stop always making fun of me. I pulled out a few handwritten lab reports from the book. Your group project. It needs to be submitted in class. Don't lose heart. We can't get Chu Yunshu. But can't we chase other girls? Lin Sheng took over the group assignment. I heard there will be a social event tonight at the South Sports Field. There will definitely be a lot of girls there to join the fun. Aren't you good at singing? Let's go together and have fun. Yi Shu said he knows songs by Zhou Chuanxiong and Lin Jixuan. Every time we go to sing, it's always just those 2 guys' songs. Lu Mingyu chimed in, but there's no denying they sing really well. I looked at the 3, you all are going. Go and check it out. Anyway, there's nothing else going on. I smiled slightly, alright then. If you're all going, I'll go too. Lu Mingyu laughed, that's more like it. You read it correctly. Sheng. Let me ask you a question. You and your girlfriend are practically long distance. You don't meet often, only chat on the phone. How do you keep it going? Lin Xing thought for a moment and said firmly, distance. Distance in a relationship is like wind and fire. It extinguishes those who are weak. And fuels those who are passionate. You love enough. Distance isn't a problem. I silently listened beside them. I thought to myself, as long as there is enough love, it's not a problem. Then what about dreams and reality? Does that count as long distance? How different are dreams and reality anyway? Chu Yunshu, lying in bed, was also pondering this question. That boy's words and actions are exactly the same as in my dream. But how could that be possible? One is reality. I must have seen him sometime, somewhere. I must have seen him somewhere before. That's why I must have dreamed about him. Yunshu. No classes this afternoon, do you want to go to the library? Xiao Yi finished showering and came out of the bathroom. Before Chu Yunshu could reply, she saw the milk tea cup on the table. You finished drinking it, why didn't you throw it away? As she spoke, she reached out to grab the empty milk tea cup. Wait a moment. Chu Yunshu suddenly turned over and got off the bed. Like a startled kitten, she stopped Xiao Yi in her tracks. Under Xiao Yi's shocked and confused gaze, Chu Yunshu hesitated and finally blurted out, I'm still useful. Then she hurriedly took the milk tea cup and left the dorm. After closing the door, Bei leaned against the corridor wall, lost in thought. After a long while, she still couldn't understand why. She was so emotional. She couldn't quite explain why. I just don't want to throw it away like garbage. Chu Yunshu looked at the milk tea cup in her hand. Suddenly, she had a sudden inspiration. After a while, the other 2 friends who went to the library in the dorm are back. They hadn't even entered the door before laughing and chatting like skylarks. He pushed the door open and entered. While sharing with Xiao Yi what happened at the library, the handsome fair-skinned guy was taking off his jacket. Xiao Yi, want to go out of campus tonight to have fun? There's a lantern festival by the sea. Not eating. I promised Yunshu to accompany her to run at the South Playground tonight. The South Playground, huh? I heard there are events too. Singing events. There will be songs to listen to. Xiao Yi, carefree and likes to laugh foolishly, has a truly likable personality. A sharp-eyed girl looked at the windowsill in surprise. When did an extra cup appear? I put it there. Chu Yunshu had just finished washing her hands. She looked at that gilded pot of soil and smiled. I planted a flower inside. 7:30 p.m. The south playground was brightly lit. It's especially lively tonight because of the outdoor karaoke. So it's particularly lively. Lu Mingyu looked at the girls on the playground, very excited. Today I saw more girls than I have in the whole past week. Which club organized this event? I want to worship them. Donate offerings to them. Probably the music club. Cui Jin thought for a moment. Not quite sure. Added another sentence, I don't know. Lin Xing shrugged, definitely not the music club. I know the president of the music club. With a look of arrogance. Blindly pursuing some high-end art. He talks about Chopin all day and shuts up only for Beethoven. Ask others if they know Mozart has 2 translated names. He wouldn't lower himself to host an outdoor KTV. Who cares who organized it? Who cares who organized it, just enjoy it. Shu Ci. Do you want to go up and sing a few lines later? I thought for a moment and replied, let's see. Supporting song requests might. But if you all go, then I'll go too. If you want to sing, just sing. There's no need to always think about us. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw several familiar figures. On the playground under the night sky, the girls from the same class linked arms, and seemed to be looking for something for a long time. They looked around anxiously. The first to spot was the tall Cui Jin, who joyfully came over. When they saw Jiang Shusi was also there, they were even more overjoyed. Since they were classmates, they naturally got acquainted quickly, chatting and laughing. Among them, the most cheerful girl asked, Jiang Shusi, are you going up to sing later? Everyone sat in several circles. Around the bonfire in the middle, a boy and a girl were singing a duet. The boy's rap got the whole atmosphere hyped up. Lin Xing said with a smile, I just asked around. And everyone can go up to sing. Just line up early to get a number. How about it, Shusi? Sing a couple of lines. You definitely sing no worse than those guys. Yeah. We want to hear too. Lu Mingyu said seriously. I thought about it for a moment. Finally decided to sign up. So the girls cheered and jumped with joy. You can hear the usually quiet and reserved classmates. Don't get many chances to sing. I went to the registration desk. The senior in charge of organizing the event was very excited. Warmly welcomed everyone. Asked if any classmates wanted to show off a bit. He looked at me as I approached. It's okay if you can't sing. The important thing is to participate. And to make friends. Can I request a song? I want to request a song called Dusk. And I want to go on the 14th, is that okay? The senior nodded, then, confused, said, you can, but why the 14th? It's only the 12th now. You'll have enough time to prepare. I answered without hesitation, I like the number 14. He didn't understand at all. But as long as people attend the event, the organizers will be happy. The senior didn't ask further. And happily went to find the accompaniment. Because the atmosphere in the center of the playground was so lively, they and their group didn't notice the small commotion at the edge of the playground. Chu Yunshu, dressed in a pink tracksuit. Even on the playground at night, she was still the most eye-catching one. But today there was an outdoor karaoke event. So only a small group of people nearby noticed her. There are so many people today. Xiao Yi, who was following Chu Yunshu, looked at the crowd packed tightly in the center of the playground and sighed. Chu Yunshu listened to the singing coming from nearby. Actually, there wasn't much of a feeling. Besides, she didn't like crowded or noisy places. Xiao Yi said, let's run a few laps and then go back. Xiao Yi nodded. Alright. She knew why Chu Yunshu wasn't interested in this kind of social gathering. She also vaguely understood why, facing many admirers, Chu Yunshu always acted very indifferent. Due to family reasons, she had a bit of a fear of love. Maybe she was lost in thought. Or perhaps afraid she would get a stitch while running. I jogged around 4 or 5 times. The two of them didn't exchange a word. Seeing more and more people on the playground, Chu Yunshu stopped at the entrance of the playground. Let's go back, he said to Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi's forehead was covered with fine sweat as he gasped softly. Sure, go back and take a shower. I'm covered in sweat. He stretched lazily and headed back. Chu Yunshu just raised his foot to catch up. She heard a voice coming from the sound system in the center of the playground. Everyone asked if the performance just now was both elegant and popular. Cheers and applause erupted in waves, even overshadowing the senior's microphone. The lively campus life doesn't belong to D. Her long-standing fear of love had made her somewhat reserved. Next, student number 14 will perform an old song for everyone. Let's give a round of applause to welcome her. As the applause like a blazing wave washed over them, Chu Yunshu's steps faltered. Hesitating for a moment, Li Xiaoyi said, let's run another lap. One more lap and then we'll go back. Okay. Xiao Yi cutely nodded. But Yun Shu, why do you want to keep running? I feel these runs aren't as good as that cup of milk tea the junior gave me. No. I just. Yun Shu paused then said softly. I just like the number 14. Under the night sky, the speakers played Companion of Dusk. The moment I started singing, the entire audience seemed to sing beautifully. The guys from dorm 601 watched the gathering. The surprised expressions of the seated classmates. As if proud and honored. Their faces all showed proud smiles. He sings so well. Why last year, during the class New Year's party, he didn't perform on stage? Some classmates were curious. Lin Xing shrugged. Shusi doesn't like to be in the spotlight. He's quite a reserved person. On the other side, the moment she spoke, Yun Shu paused in her steps. Her gaze turned toward the direction of the singing voice. This song is. Yun Shu was slightly surprised. Xiaoyi frowned, pulling on his ear to listen carefully. He was almost on tiptoe, stretching his neck toward that direction. After listening for a long time, she said, too far away, can't hear clearly. But it sounds like Huang Chun. Yun Shu's heart skipped a beat. She felt this voice was somewhat familiar. How could it be such a coincidence? It actually is this song. And it just happens to be the 14th. The number 14 means something very special to her. It has an extremely special meaning. The day her junior confessed to her in the dream was the 14th. I have practiced this song countless times in my dream. From singing poorly at first to mastering it perfectly later. Yun Shu can be called a witness to this. So when this number and this song come together, her mind was swirling with countless thoughts. Everything was just too coincidental. So coincidental that it felt unbelievable. Her heart was beating faster and faster. She wasn't sure if it was due to the rise in body temperature from running, or if what happened in the dream was reflecting reality. She was completely captivated listening. When she came back to her senses, the song was already over. That also ended her desire to go see. Xiao Yi, you've said before that our school has something called a confession wall. Yun Shu suddenly asked. Yeah. It's a QQ account. It's specially for serving current students at Shanghai University. It even does things like substitute classes and errands. Of course, most are people confessing their feelings. I'm really familiar with the confession wall. Yun Shu, feel free to ask me anything. She felt Yun Shu had really changed today. Not only did she never drink milk tea before, but she also accepted a thank you gift from a stranger junior. She even took the initiative to inquire about the school's confession wall. She never used to even look at these things. If I want to ask about something at school, but don't want others to know it was me asking, can I just ask him? Yun Shu looked at the phone Xiao Yi handed her. On the screen was the QQ account for the Shanghai University confession wall. You just send him a message. Ask whatever questions you want. And say it's anonymous, that's all. Yun Shu seemed deep in thought. Then she had Xiao Yi share the confession wall's QQ with her. So will he reply to my questions privately too? Of course not. He posts your questions on the public feed. If anyone wants to answer, they comment below. Although not 100%. Most of the students at Shanghai University should be able to see it, right? As long as one person in a dorm adds the confession wall account as a friend. Sharing quickly makes it common knowledge. Yun Shu disliked the phrase common knowledge. So she slightly frowned. But then she thought of her own curiosity. She still decided to give this a try. For her, the confession wall was something new. After all, it's all anonymous. No one really knows who it's from. Yun Shu held her phone, editing a message to send to the confession wall. Cutting and trimming. But when she looked up, she saw a boy blocking her way. Li Jingtang was standing there holding 2 cups of milk tea. He looked at Yun Shu with full confidence. What a coincidence, senior. To run into you here. This is a milk tea for you. I heard you like drinking it. His eyes showed a determined confidence. The corner of his mouth lifted slightly. The classmates around were all surprised at this. For a moment, people began calling their friends over. More and more people came around after hearing the news. I'm sorry. I don't drink milk tea. She didn't even say a second word. After speaking, Yun Shu promptly turned and left. After the song ended, I received unprecedented applause. This is actually the first time besides singing in front of people outside my friends. Actually, I hadn't realized I had a singing talent before. In my first year, I would occasionally sing a few lines in my dreams. After waking up, I surprisingly remembered those melodies. Over time, they became familiar with each other. Lu Mingyu, seeing many unfamiliar girls around. You seem very interested in Zhang Shusi. Suddenly realized that maybe singing well helps. At 2:00, the crowd dispersed after singing. So, a nightingale decided to sing a couple of tunes. It's also a good way to find a partner. He, a bit disappointed, started complaining about going back. Seeing that it was getting late, his roommates. He headed back to the dorm. After returning to the dorm, not long after, Lu Mingyu suddenly stood up excitedly. Jiang Shusi, you actually posted on the confession wall. Holding up his phone in disbelief, he said. Let me take a look. Cui Jin showed interest. I took the phone to look. An anonymous user asked. What's the name of the number 14 singer at the South Sports Field tonight? Lu Mingyu looked at his two roommates. Do you think it might be someone who has a secret crush on Shusi? Lin Qing thought for a moment. That place should have contact info, right? I don't care anymore. Cui Jin started typing. The number 14 singer is called Jiang Shudeng. He's in the telecommunications major. Female dormitory. Xiao Yi was just getting to know Li Jingtang. His friends were complaining about tonight's experience. You weren't there on site. You didn't see that boy named Li Jingtang who was stunned. He definitely wouldn't have guessed Yun Shu doesn't drink milk tea. How come he didn't do any homework before trying to hit on her? The roommate suddenly understood. Lowering his voice, he said, no wonder Li Jingtang just kept asking me on WeChat about how Yun Shu is feeling now. So that's how it is. He asked me before about Yun Shu's likes. I forgot to tell him Yun Shu doesn't drink milk tea. I don't think it's your fault. Yun Shu is acting a bit unusual today. She asked me about the confession wall tonight. She kept looking at her phone as soon as she got back to the dorm. She never cared about those things before. And didn't you say this afternoon? Yun Shu received a milk tea from a junior. So why was she treating Li Jingtang differently tonight? Yun Shu, who became the focus of the dorm chat, was watering that cup of soil on the windowsill, absent-mindedly, glancing at her phone from time to time. Chi Tsong came back from running, and kept waiting for a reply. Turns out the confession wall was full of comments about her and Li Jingtang. It made her uncomfortable. Nobody wants others to keep talking behind their back. She decided to just delete it. She tapped to open the profile picture of the confessor, wanting to remove the friend. Out of sight, out of mind. Before clicking to delete the friend, she decided to take one last look. The result was just that one glance. Refreshed and showed a new reply. The eye-catching number 14 lit up before my eyes. The singer performing at spot 14 is called Jiang Shubi. He majors in telecommunications. It really is him. Yun Shu felt her heart racing again. This is such a coincidence. Number 14 is my favorite. The song he sings most often in my dream. The most crucial point. It really is him. She hesitated for a moment. She looked at the profile pictures on the Shanghai University confession wall. Better not delete it for now. After the lights went out and she finished washing up, Yun Shu decided to go to sleep. As I drifted into sleep, I felt drowsy and heavy. I wasn't sure the exact moment I fell asleep. When I came back to my senses, I had already appeared in an empty corridor. This is the laboratory building. Tonight I didn't dream of senior sister. This made me a little disappointed. But then I thought again. Based on experience, dreaming of senior Chu happens every few days. I even dreamed at noon that senior sister confessed to her. I shouldn't be greedy. I don't even know when I'll dream about him again. I quietly murmur as I push the door open. But I froze the moment I stepped inside. Yun Shu is singing solo, holding the microphone. Her voice echoes through the empty classroom. It's ethereal and very beautiful. The moment I saw Jiang Shusi, a hint of joy clearly flickered across Yun Shu's face. You're here. She shifted slightly to the side. Sitting on the sofa. She happily waves the microphone in her hand. Come sit down. It's your turn to sing. I fix my gaze. I look closely. The song on the screen is City of Mules by Mao Bai. I can't sing this one. I smile slightly. I naturally walk over and sit down. Shoulder to shoulder with the senior. I can even smell her shampoo and feel her breathing rhythm. The scent and the rhythm of your breath. Did senior sister just come after taking a shower? I was a little confused. But I quickly denied it. This is a dream. How could the person in my dream take a shower before seeing me? This picturesque distance breeds a sour feeling. Hormones mischief made our hearts beat faster. I felt happiness deep inside. The relationship between the two of us in the dream was already very close. I took the microphone and tried to follow the lyrics smoothly once. I knew I was off-key and missed some words and parts. After all, I really couldn't sing. But senior sister was still very happy. You sang really well. She smiled, applauded, and turned to look at me. Our teary eyes met, so close together. Our gazes grew more and more intense. Senior sister's eyes became gentle. So she gently closed her eyes as if giving silent consent. Looking at senior sister's trembling eyelashes and rosy lips. I no longer spoke. I pulled senior sister into my arms. I kissed her. After a long while, our lips parted. I looked at senior sister, her cheeks flushed, and softly asked, Senior sister. Your answer. Yun Shu immediately understood what answer I meant. I hadn't yet given a reply to the confession from the midday dream. So she blushed and gently tapped her own arm. Asking knowingly, The song you sang at the karaoke tonight was really beautiful, Chu Yun-shu suddenly said. I was slightly surprised. Then she relaxed. Deep down in her subconscious, she hoped senior sister could, in reality, hearing the song I sang. That's probably why she dreamt senior sister said that. Next time, sing me the songs I like. Her tone was full of anticipation and longing. In the days that followed, she didn't dream of Chu Yun-shu anymore. She could only practice alone in her dreams. The songs Chu Yun-shu likes. When bored, she even tried to learn English in her dreams. But the results were minimal. Helplessly, she had to give up the idea of studying theoretical knowledge in her dreams. So the next morning, I still decided to go to the library to study. After all, the dorm is the worst place to study, especially when my roommates like to play games. I arrived at the library right after breakfast. But on every floor's study room, I searched everywhere and couldn't find a free seat. Countless men and women were bent over their desks writing. Most of them had headphones on, with tablets in front of them, listening to online classes while writing with a carbon pen, sketching and writing on the practice questions. No seats left already by 7:30. I don't come to the library often to study, so I didn't know university life was this competitive. I closed the door of the last study room and left. I've made up my mind to come earlier tomorrow. I'll just go back to the dorm to read today. As I was about to head back downstairs, I saw in the second floor lobby several tables placed outside the study room. They were meant for people to sit and rest. Of course, it's also possible to read and study here, but because the lobby has people coming and going, it can be distracting. So unless absolutely necessary, no one chooses this place to study by choice. Fortunately, when it comes to focusing, I'm confident I won't be disturbed by this environment. So I looked around to see if there was a free spot. I walked to a table at the very back, and finally found an empty seat. There was only one girl sitting by the round table. So I politely walked over and asked if the seat was taken. If I could share the table. The table was quite big. There was plenty of room for both of us to spread out our books and stationery. The girl looked up at me but didn't say anything. Just nodded lightly. Then gathered the things a bit closer in front of herself. She never took off the earphones from her ears the entire time. Nor did she say a word to me. I sat down and took out the CT4 materials. Placed them on the table, ready to start studying. I glanced at the girl sitting across from me. She was surprisingly also reading English. But the English was too complicated. I didn't even recognize a single longer word. I have always been patient. I do everything slowly. Slow and serious. Normally, such a person wouldn't do badly in studies. But when it came to English, things went wrong. I really had no clue about English. Just like that, the whole morning went by quickly. I only finished 2 CT4 practice tests. The result was even more dismal when I checked the answers. For the final translation of things like, for generations under one roof, the 4 treasures of the study, and so on. I was so frustrated I almost wrote the pinyin instead. I sighed softly, comforting myself. Then I decided to go eat at the cafeteria before coming back to continue studying. I'll just leave my backpack here for now. I got up and left. The girl behind me looked up and glanced at Jiang Shuxi's back. Then she looked again at the books left on the table. She seemed thoughtful. After finishing my meal, I hurried back to the library without delay. I stepped out of the elevator on the 3rd floor. Before I even reached the round table, I immediately noticed that compared to when I left, there was something new on the table. They were 2 small nameplates placed at both ends of the table. They indicated that seats were reserved. I wondered where that girl had gone. Looking puzzled, I stared at the nameplate standing on my books. I don't understand why. It must have been placed there by the patrol guard. The library was quite considerate, after all. I sat down and began studying again. I temporarily set the nameplate aside. Half an hour later, the girl returned. She probably just finished her meal. She gestured toward a sign hanging on the wall nearby. I glanced to see some library borrowing rules. She never borrows books. So I only glanced at it quickly without reading completely. But today, the girl reminded me. Upon closer inspection, I found there are even more rules. About the rules of the self-study room. The library prohibits books, water cups, backpacks, and all personal items from reserving seats. Any violations will be sent to the lost and found. Reserving a seat requires inquiry. You must request a seat badge and register. Each badge permits a 2-hour reservation. If patrols find overdue badges, they will also confiscate personal belongings and send them to the lost and found. I only noticed afterward and picked up the small badge. Turns out, the girl reserved the seat for me with that badge. So it was this girl who saved the seat name tag for me. It was my first time coming to the library. I didn't know about this rule. Thank you. Otherwise, I would have had to go to lost and found to look for my things. The girl reached out and took the nameplate from in front of her. She stacked it together with her own nameplate and placed them by her side. She said she would return it when the patrol officer came later. You're welcome. You are very quiet. I don't want to study with noisy people. I also like quiet people. So his impression of this girl was very good. On top of that, she helped me. That made the impression even better. The study progress in the afternoon was still slow. I did 2 more test papers. The scores were even lower than in the morning. I seriously analyzed the results. In the end, I came to a conclusion. It must have been bad luck in the afternoon. I'd better go back to class first. Class ended just in time for mealtime. After dinner, I returned to the library again. The girl was no longer on the 3rd floor. I felt a little regretful. I only had time to say thank you, but there was no real way to express my gratitude. Reading in the library is actually quite addictive. In such a quiet environment, there's no need to worry that someone might disturb me. I don't even need to hold the book at the table to read. The library was about to close soon. I picked out a few English reference books to borrow together. Before leaving, I saw several classmates gathered around the reading room door, watching something. I walked over to take a look. It turned out the library patrol officer had just posted a recruitment notice. Looking at the recruitment notice on the wall, they offered long-term exclusive desks for self-study. This condition really caught my interest. I had already experienced today how crowded the library study room could get. If I want to come here to grab a spot in the future, I'll have to get up earlier and earlier. The competition never ends. I don't want to sleep a bit longer. Instead of going to bed at 5 or 6 and fighting for seats. So I went to the consultation desk on the 1st floor of the library. Hello, I want to ask about the recruitment. I heard that working here can get you a fixed table. The table is in the 3rd floor study room. The last 2 rows of tables are reserved for students working here. Others cannot use them. Are you interested in part-time work for earning some pocket money? Ting is interested. I'm just not sure if the workload is heavy. It's okay. After all, providing tables means the place is for work. The teachers know that students working here also need to study. They are here to learn as well, so they won't require too much work time. The only thing is, maybe you have to stay until 6 in the evening. After everyone leaves, clean up the place. She then added that. As for whether the workload is heavy or not, it depends on the students assigned to your group. How do you plan to split the work among yourselves? I paused slightly. How many per group? 2 people per group. Because the table is shared by 2 people. Hearing this, I couldn't help but furrow my brow. Meeting by chance is still okay, but fixed long-term seats are at different tables. The other person's personality must be considered. You might end up with someone whose voice is loud and disruptive, flipping through books loudly and with poor manners. The female classmate's gaze skipped over me and looked behind. Just right. If you want to apply for a work-study position, the student behind you will be your partner. Hearing this, I turned around. I saw a face that wasn't too unfamiliar. That spring breeze-like girl was standing behind me. Hello. I am an English major from the School of Foreign Languages. My surname is Wan. My name is Wan Cho-hui. I am Jiang Shusi, majoring in telecommunications at the School of Information. The Jiang, in Yangtze River. The girl nodded in greeting with a cheerful expression. She didn't seem to mind being assigned to the same group as me. I thought it was probably because she liked quietness. I felt quite happy in my heart as well. After all, I don't like being disturbed when I'm studying seriously. It would be nice if she were sitting next to me. I began volunteering at the library starting Thursday. I gradually adapted to studying every night. The daily routine of cleaning at the library. In all the time outside of classes, I was almost always in the library. Learning English is a long and challenging process. Because I spend a lot of time there, I've also noticed some of Wen Chiehui's good habits. She also comes to the library very diligently. I see her almost every day, even on weekends. She comes here to study regardless of the weather. As time went on, I've gotten to know her a little. It's another Thursday morning. I got to the library early to study. Sure enough, Wen Chiehui arrived promptly at 7. She carried a white shoulder bag and had her hands in her pockets. She wore Bluetooth headphones. Walking briskly from in front of the study room. Good morning. I greeted her. We had known each other for a week. And had worked together too. I realized that Wen Chiehui wasn't someone who avoided work. She just didn't talk much to strangers. You came pretty early today. Wen Chiehui took off one earbud and smiled briskly. She shook her hair and put her backpack on the other half of the desk. Pulled out a chair and sat down next to me. Opened her backpack and took out her materials and books. Then prepared to study at her desk. Time passed quickly, and before I knew it, it was evening. By nearly 10 o'clock, the library was almost empty. At this time, the 2 of us would clean up and then lock up before leaving. When Chiu Hui came over with her bag to say hi, I finished cleaning the 3rd and 4th floors. I'm heading off now. Bye-bye. I was organizing books behind the bookshelf. I poked my head out and waved at her. Then I went to the restroom to get the mop. I gave the stairs one last mop. Then I could leave. I've finished all the work. I came to the front door on the first floor. I turned around and looked at the empty hall. Only a solitary light at my feet was still on, casting a faint glow over the entire hall. Just as I was about to lock the door, an unexpected sound came from upstairs. Don't shut the door yet. It was Wen Chihui. I was stunned. Didn't she already leave? There was no time to think. I suddenly remembered something and shouted quickly. Watch the steps. But it was too late. Wen Chihui's personality was tomboyish to begin with. She liked to take 2 steps at a time on the stairs. And now she was in a hurry. Her strides grew even longer. But I had just finished mopping the stairs. They were still wet and slippery. I personally saw Wen Chihui holding her bag. She hurriedly and fiercely jumped down the stairs. Her feet barely touched the ground on the first floor. She slipped and fell straight out. She let out a somewhat heavy cry. I was very startled and hurried over. Are you okay? Wen Chihui's expression was slightly pained. But she clenched her teeth and didn't shout out in pain. She twisted her ankle. Weren't you gone? After leaving, I remembered that the window on the 4th floor wasn't closed. It's going to rain tomorrow. So I went back upstairs to close the window. Let me check how badly you've twisted your ankle. As I said that, I reached out and gently touched Wen Chihui's ankle. Her body clearly shivered. It was very painful. I pulled my hand back. No need to check anymore. The sprain is serious. You have to go to the medical office. Then, crouching down, I said. I'll carry you there. Sorry for making you carry me around. Just help me walk. It's already 10 o'clock. The infirmary will close if it gets any later. I'll carry you and run over. Otherwise, they'll definitely close. When Cho-hui gritted her teeth, the pain in her foot was obvious. She couldn't even walk with support anymore. Quickly assessed the situation. Chose to listen to me. Women's dormitory for the telecommunications major. Chu Yunshu lay on her bed, looking at her call records. Several missed calls made her frown. It seems she blacklisted herself. This guy doesn't reply even when she messages him. He's also blocked her calls. She also wanted to ask if she should go home during the holiday. The holiday was approaching quickly. Chu Yunshu thought about her father's instructions. She wanted to ease their relationship, but she had no chance at all. She changed her approach. Chu Yunshu sent a message to her roommate. She decided to ask her roommate to inquire on her behalf. Although she might be rejected by the club, it didn't take long afterward. When I saw the message reply, Chu Yunshu suddenly sat up on the bed. Without thinking, she got out of bed and started dressing. Yunshu, where are you going so late? The lights were turned off. Chu Yunshu was putting on her shoes while telling Xiao Yi to wash up. I'll go to the infirmary. That infirmary? The one in the East Campus. Then go now. You definitely can't make it back in time. I might not come back tonight. Tell the management auntie that I'm doing an experiment in the lab building. After saying that, she didn't care about anything else. She put on her coat and left the dormitory. When Xie Hui, lying on her back, usually didn't speak. The pain made her bite her lips tightly. Only the cool evening breeze and feeling so close. The irregular breath caused by running. That can help ease the pain a little. Finally arrived before the infirmary closed. The teacher injured his foot. Please take a look. I hurriedly explained the situation as soon as I entered. Clearly and simply put it. Zhu Kong fell down the stairs. It might be a sprain. First, help her to the bed inside and let her lie down. I did so, helping Wen Qi onto the bed and letting him lie down. When Cho Hui turned to look at himself, hand over his school bag. Thank you for bringing me here. It doesn't hurt much anymore now. You should go back. I looked up and saw it was already 10:30. If I go back to the dorm now, I can still catch the lights out in curfew. Seeing I made no move, Wen Chihui added. Staying here won't help much. It's unnecessary. I didn't say anything upon hearing that. I shouldered my bag and left. The school doctor waited until I was gone, pulled over a chair and sat down. Your boyfriend? No. A classmate I just met. Wen Qi said. It's not easy for him to carry you here. The school nurse reached out to roll up the boy's pants. I can already see that the ankle isn't swollen anymore. Oh dear. It's not painful like this anymore. She was very shocked. Just now, noticing the young girl's reaction, I thought she just accidentally slipped while going down the stairs. Her boyfriend, concerned, rushed her here. Wen and Hui shook her head. It hurts. Of course it does. But telling him wouldn't help anyway. Teacher, be gentle. Your injury looks quite serious. Maybe the bone is injured. The school nurse looked worried. We need to go to the hospital for an X-ray. Lie here, it won't take long. When Cho Hui frowned upon hearing this news. After a long while, she spoke to the school nurse in a consulting tone. Teacher, could you please send me to the school gate? I can simply take a taxi to the hospital myself. I'm about to finish work soon. I'll drive you to the hospital directly. Thank you, teacher. Wen Chihui blushed. The school doctor made her feel embarrassed. But after thinking it over, she realized she really had no one to rely on. Because she prioritized studying so much that she always stayed in the library. Her relationship with her roommate hadn't reached that level yet. Willing to take the risk of staying out overnight. To keep her company, the school doctor simply treated her ankle. Then prepared to pack up and close the door. But before turning off the lights, I saw Chu Yunshu panting as she ran to the door. She leaned on the door frame and looked inside. Classmate. What's wrong? Changed into her medical uniform and grabbed her car keys. I want to go down to Wang. I'm here to find my sister. Her roommate told me she twisted her ankle. She looked into the clinic while catching her breath. Before her words finished, she saw Wen Chihui sitting by the bed. She looked pleased here. However, the latter was clearly not very friendly. With a sullen face. Not as good as your sister. One sentence made Chu Yunshu, who had just been full of worry. It made me angry. Am I not your sister? At a time like this, you're still throwing a tantrum. I calmed myself down. She asked the school nurse. Teacher. How is the plantar fasciitis? It's quite serious. You need to go to the hospital. You really are her sister. Chu Yunshu nodded vigorously. Although Wen Chihui wouldn't admit it. This is an undeniable fact. Then you might as well come with me. I'll take both of you together. No need, teacher. I'll take her there myself. I won't trouble you. Chu Yunshu politely bowed in thanks. You're about to get off work. I am her sister. I will take responsibility. Letting you escort me to the school gate. I really can't accept that. Wen Chihui, however, sneered inappropriately. She would absolutely never let this woman escort her. There really was no choice. She would rather hop on one foot all the way to the school gate to catch a taxi, then hold on to Chu Yunshu's arm for support. Chu Yunshu suppressed the anger burning in her chest. Although she didn't get along with her sister, the years they spent together had also given her a good understanding of the other's temper. So you mean you want to trouble the teacher? Sure enough, the moment she said this, Wen Chihui's previously aggressive demeanor immediately softened, pretending to be the good person hypocritically. Even if you forgot, or my mom forgot, I can never forget what kind of person you really are. The school doctor looked somewhat confused. It seemed like these two sisters had a pretty bad relationship. They argued for a while, both holding in a lot of anger. After a short pause, Chu Yunshu asked. Your roommate said you twisted your ankle in the library. Then who brought you here? Does who brought me here have anything to do with you? I really thank you. No need to thank me. Wen Chihui looked at Chu Yunshu coldly. Someone I know myself. I can speak for myself. The atmosphere stiffened again. I felt somewhat constrained in my tone. Is this a temporary argument or normal? If it's the usual thing. Their family relationship doesn't look very promising. Just as the two entered a new round of break, there was the sound of footsteps running outside the door. This time, the sound was muffled. You could tell immediately it was a boy. The school nurse wondered what was going on today. So many students came to the infirmary. When the footsteps reached the door, everyone froze in surprise. I went and then returned, carrying a white backpack in my hand, but it was already a bit dirty. Senior Chu. Chu and I exchanged surprised looks. Clearly, neither of us expected the other to be here. Senior, why are you here? I returned the backpack to Wen Chihui. Only then did Wen Chihui realize that he wasn't going back to the dorm, but had returned to the library to help get her backpack. I already told him not to bother. Just leave it there and pick it up tomorrow. At worst, I'll check the lost and found. If it's gone, it's gone. An uncontrollable factor. Looking at the spot on the backpack that had clearly been wiped, Wen Chihui felt a warmth in her heart. This guy actually has some loyalty. The water stains had dried since it had been a long time. It could only be cleaned like this. I can take it back, clean it, and then bring it to you. No need. Wen Chihui lost the sarcasm during the argument with Chu Yunshu just now. The cold sarcasm during their quarrel. Her voice became calm. This is just fine. I'll wash it myself. Chu Yunshu suddenly realized the reason. Student Jiang. Did you bring her here? It was me. I nodded. Then I noticed something was off. Slightly puzzled. Senior Chu knows my name. Yunshu feels a sudden panic inside. I can't exactly say I often dream of or that I've asked questions on the confession wall, but I appear calm on the surface. My roommate told me during the last basketball game. He even showed me our department's competition roster. The game was truly exciting. It's thanks to you that our department's honor was preserved. But I had nothing to do with the excitement. I think to myself. I'm just a substitute who didn't even get to play. And I even freeloaded a bottle of water from Senior. Chu Yunshu also feels a bit awkward. Recalling it, it seems he never even played. I guess I'm just exaggerating. But I need an excuse to cover up how muddle-headed I am. I actually linked singing in my dreams to reality. Such a ridiculous thing. So that's how it is. I didn't expect you guys to know each other. It's so late, yet you're still here visiting her. Before I finished speaking, Wen Qiuhui had already changed to a different tone. She was very indifferent. Don't say that. I don't need you to come see me. I was somewhat stunned. Judging by this tone, their relationship isn't good at all. Then why, late at night, did senior sister come from the West Campus dormitory, all the way to the East Campus infirmary? And it was the first time I had seen such a resentful expression on her face. In front of others. What's all the noise about? She lowered her voice to scold Wen Qiuhui, like a young couple arguing and drawing the neighbor's attention. The wife was both angry and annoyed. Wen Qiuhui gave a suspicious cold laugh. Just now, in front of the school doctor. Why didn't you say that? Wen Qiuhui tried to get out of bed, but her swollen ankle made it difficult to move. So she reached out her hand to me. It's already past curfew. Are you still going back to the dormitory? It's past curfew. You can't go back anymore. Then please help me to the campus gate. I'm going to the hospital. Wen Qiuhui's voice softened a bit. Consider it a favor I owe you. Your class advisor is looking for you. I'll speak for you. No matter what happens tonight, it's on me. I'll take responsibility and explain for you. Going to the hospital. I was a bit surprised. The injury is this serious. The school doctor explained. The foot injury is quite serious. Young man. The actual situation isn't as easy as this girl says. It's not as light as she tells you. Since there are already 2 acquaintances here, the school doctor naturally was sensible and didn't intervene further. Locked the clinic door and left them 3 medical certificates. Advised them to be careful when leaving the campus. Stay safe and report to the counselor. Then, she left. I, still not understanding the situation, helped support. Wen Qiuhui walked towards the campus gate, with the senior sister half a step behind. What exactly is going on now? He's completely stunned. Senior, are you coming along too? I asked tentatively. I feel half responsible for Wen's foot. I need to see her safely to the hospital to be at ease. We don't need to care where people like that go. We'll go our own way. Wen Qiuhui walked with a limp, looking ill. Her heroic face showed traces of disgust. My foot is on me. I'll walk however I want. Chu Yunshu felt her anger building. But since I'm here, she won't flare up. She changed her tone and thanked me. You've really troubled yourself. Jiang. It's okay. After all, I'm partly responsible. When we reached the school gate, I called a ride-hailing car to go to the hospital. By the time we got to the hospital, it was already 1 a.m. I carried Wen Qiuhui to the night emergency registration. After the doctor examined her, they said a scan was needed before a diagnosis. Wen Qiuhui was helped by a nurse to the imaging department. I sat on a bench in the hospital corridor with Chu Yunshu. Now I could finally relax a bit. It was time to properly understand the relationship between the 2 of them. But whether to bring it up first became an issue. I felt my heartbeat speeding up. If this were a dream, I would have just gone over and cuddled with Senior. If it weren't a public place, he might even let Senior sit on his lap and hold her close. But this is reality. Senior is said to be very aloof in real life. If I were even a little careless, I might already be on Senior's blacklist. Just as the atmosphere was about to become awkward, Chu Yunshu spoke up. Student Jiang, how did you 2 meet? The library. I briefly explained the whole story. Chu Yunshu nodded. I see. So are you curious about my relationship with her? If Senior is willing to talk about it, I am definitely quite curious. She is my younger sister. We are not biological sisters. Both of us come from single-parent families. When I was in middle school, my dad and her mom formed a blended family. So, she and I are not blood-related. Senior doesn't get along well with one. Did it start from that time as well? Right. Because of some things in our childhood, our relationship has always been bad. A big part of the reason lies with me. Chu Yunshu feels slightly regretful. Her eyes misted over softly. I roughly understood. No wonder Wen Qiuhui was more aggressive all along. Aggressive. Most seniors are like that. Responds with passive defense. And Senior came over in the middle of the night to visit the injured D, which shows that Senior still cares about her sister. Having dreams as a place to vent. She rarely shows emotions in reality. That's why everyone feels Chu Yunshu is very cold. Despite that person in my dreams, sitting in front of me is exactly the same as the junior sitting there. But a dream is just a dream. The X-ray results came out quickly. Slight bone crack. Needs a week of bed rest before I can get up and walk. Wen Qiuhui is lying on the hospital bed with her left foot raised. I glanced at her from under the blanket covering her. Yet, there's not a hint of shyness on her face. Thanks. I will add you as a friend. I'll transfer the fare to you. I shook my head. It's entirely my fault. How could I ask you for the fare? Fine, I won't bother with you anymore, pushing you around. I've taken this debt to heart. But Wen Qiuhui still insists on adding me as a friend. She smiled slightly. You're quite the loyal person, aren't you? Turn around and you'll see your bedside table. There's a gray backpack on it. Thinking about this desk mate I just met recently. Without saying a word, she carried it on her back. Ran over 1,000 meters without stopping. She is worth getting along with. I want to be friends with you. When Kei-hui was very straightforward. She always says whatever's on her mind. I thought for a moment. Then I smiled too. You're really an interesting person. Okay. We're friends now. When Cho-hui curled her finger at me, my gaze caught someone not far away. Chu Yun-shu stood with arms crossed over her chest. She seemed ready to intervene. Whispering so she wouldn't hear. I leaned in closer, bending down. Wanting to hear what she had to say. Not wanting Chu Yun-shu to get involved. When Kei-hui craned her neck and whispered softly in my ear. As your first piece of advice as a friend. Stay away from that vicious woman behind you. Chu Yun-shu seemed a bit annoyed but held back. Don't talk to her too much. 2 out of every 3 sentences are full of hostility. Chu Yun-shu called me over. Student Jiang. Where are you sleeping tonight? I just asked the doctor earlier. No one is in this ward tonight. Senior, you can sleep on that empty bed. I'll just make do with the chair. That won't do. Chu Yun-shu shook her head repeatedly. How could she let her junior sleep on the chair? Although it was already very late. But if you're willing, you can go find a hotel to sleep in. I'll pay you whatever it costs. Chu Yun-shu's family was quite well off. She had enough living expenses on hand. She could afford to sleep in a decent hotel. In fact, she could easily go by herself. To find a high-end hotel to stay in. But it was almost midnight. It's too dangerous for a girl to be alone at night. And she felt embarrassed to invite a junior she wasn't close with. So sleeping in the ward was the best option. But I refused. He didn't want his senior to waste money. So he found an excuse about being tired from the journey. Not wanting to look for another hotel. I finally convinced Chu Yun-shu. I sat on the chair. Not far away was senior, sleeping in her clothes. She was covered with a quilt, facing away from me. I couldn't tell if she was asleep or awake. Maybe it was because she was too tired today. Even though this chair was very uncomfortable to sit on. I still fell deeply into a dream. A familiar coffee shop. This was the place where senior and I often went on dates in my dreams. We strolled around the school casually. If class ended early, we would come here for a cup of coffee. I wore a very stylish casual outfit. Sitting beside the outdoor table under the sunshade. As expected, senior was also sitting next to me. That's great. I looked at her and said gently. Dreamed of you again. But immediately, a faint sadness welled up inside me. Even though senior was right here beside me in reality. Our distance felt like that between dream and reality. The two can't help but talk. They talked about their families based on what they experienced in the past week. The senior sighed softly, seeming a bit down. I moved my chair closer. I embraced the senior in my arms. The two held hands. I used to have a bad relationship with my stepmother due to my rebelliousness. My younger sister had a hard childhood and grew up quickly. She relied on her mother for survival. Due to life's hardships, she became tough and vengeful. I saw all the conflicts between her and my stepmother. Since then, she and I have not gotten along. Chu Yunsu softly spoke of the past. After spending more time together, I realized my stepmother treats me very well. She is genuinely kind. After puberty, I will secretly regret it in private. I comforted her. It's okay. Things will get better. He held the senior's hand. Their heads leaned against each other. The dream vanished. I adjusted my posture. Sure enough, sitting on the chair was uncomfortable for sleeping. In an awkward sleeping position, I slowly opened my blurry eyes. The room had already fallen into complete darkness. After a long time adjusting, my eyes gradually could see. I felt a slight urge to use the bathroom. But right after, I froze. My mind felt like it had been struck by lightning. In the dream, I was holding senior's little hand. That incredibly real feeling hadn't disappeared. I was stunned. I took a closer look. Without realizing when, I was actually holding senior's hand. The huge shock made my mind go blank. After going through a series of earthquake-like mental shocks, I came to my senses and hurriedly, cautiously, withdrew my hand from senior's hand. Then I dashed out of the room in a single leap. Rushed into the bathroom across the hall. I turned on the faucet. Suddenly splashed water on my face several times. Only then did I start breathing heavily. Looking at myself in the mirror. My face has turned as red as a monkey's butt. How can you do this? I regret silently inside. The senior is sleeping right beside. You fantasize about her in your dreams. Vulnerably lying in your arms. Letting you comfort her is enough. Why did you sleepwalk and reach out for her hand? Don't you have any shame? I gasped heavily, still shaken. Luckily, I didn't wake the senior. Otherwise, my reputation as a pervert would be confirmed. No way. I can't go back to sleep. I was wandering back and forth in the hallway. Finally decided to sit on the bench outside until dawn. To prevent myself from sleepwalking again. What I didn't notice on the other side. After I pulled my hand back and ran away, Chu Yunshu's small hand stretched outside. It immediately retracted with a flick. She suddenly turned over, facing the wall, covered her head with the quilt, but her eyes were wide open. My heart was pounding so loudly it was deafening. Actually, I woke up much earlier than Jiang Shusi. Every time in my dreams, she vanished first. Then, I opened my eyes. I saw that I was holding her hand. Both of us thought we were having hysterics. The act of sleepwalking to clean up. I took the initiative to hold the other's hand. Chu Yunshu was so shy that she was afraid to pull her hand away and wake me up. So she pretended to be asleep with her eyes closed. My heart was pounding so hard I didn't dare to move. What should I do? What should I do? Chu Yunshu, how could you do this? You're such a weirdo. In my dream, with my junior, I could understand venting and acting cute. But how could you sleepwalk and hold their hand? Now it's all messed up. Jiang must have noticed, right? Chu Yunshu blushed and blamed herself. When I wake up tomorrow, how am I supposed to explain it to my junior? In this intense mix of youthful feelings and anxiety, Chu Yunshu didn't sleep well in the latter half of the night. The next morning, when Chiehui stretched lazily and woke up, I'm going back to class. Seeing her awake, I said weakly. When Chiehui was slightly surprised, looking at the dark circles under her eyes. I didn't sleep well last night. I felt a bit guilty and said softly, it must be the chair's fault. What about that person? Whenever Chu Yunshu was mentioned, when Chiehui's attitude turned cold, senior sister is outside the door. She guessed you'd argue and left first. That's that. I'm leaving. I'll leave the cleaning during my recovery to you. When Chiehui gave me a thumbs up. When I'm better, I'll take care of all the cleaning this semester. Then she pointed her thumb at herself. Seeing her generous attitude, I smiled. Let's talk about it when you're better. After leaving, I looked at the senior sister standing not far away, with a guilty expression on my face. His face reddened slightly as if caught stealing, pretending to look out the window at the scenery. Neither of them mentioned last night's incident, showing mutual understanding. Seeing that the other person remained silent, they both silently relaxed, feeling reassured. Taking a taxi back to school, we said goodbye at the school gate. I went back to the dorm. Goodbye, Jiang classmate. Goodbye, senior. Luckily, there weren't many people nearby. I saw the senior leave. I wondered what would happen if someone saw me with Chu Yunshu, getting out of a car, returning early in the morning from outside. Is it time to spread the news? I went to the cafeteria to eat breakfast. I didn't return to the dorm. Went directly to the teaching building. Today's 8 a.m. class was a core subject. In the lecture hall, I arrived early and took a seat. Waited a long time until classmates started arriving one after another. More and more people came as the class time approached. All the people from the dorm had also shown up. Shu Ci, Cui Jin greeted me and stepped closer. Sat down beside me. The other two also squeezed in. The noisy chatter in the classroom couldn't hide the roommate's curious gossiping spirit. Lu Mingyu hurriedly asked. Shusi, where did you go last night? Li Jin teased. You didn't really book a hotel room, did you? Lu Mingyu responded. Wow, you're like a rock at school. Turns out there's a secret romance outside the walls. Lynching chuckled and eased the situation. Forget it. There must be something else going on. He noticed my expression wasn't good. Shusi probably hasn't even held a girl's hand. I felt unwilling inside but looked guilty on my face. I didn't dare to respond. How could he not have touched a girl's little hand? Especially the campus belle's hand. It's just that this is so perverted. Luckily, we didn't wake the study group at that time. Otherwise, I would have ended up dead. Cui Jin was standing closest. Noticing I wasn't looking good. Shusi, you didn't sleep well last night, I awkwardly responded with a couple of ahas. I quickly changed the subject. Why are there so many people in the classroom today? You don't know yet. Feilai said that our sophomore class 1 and class 2 are having the class together. But this lesson has visitors auditing it. I heard they'll be recording it. It's quite auspicious. Our analog circuit teacher swapped class 2 for the junior class 2. When he asks questions, let's keep quiet. There'll be seniors raising hands for us. Telecom class 2, junior year. I was stunned. Isn't that senior Chu's class? As expected. Before long, the seniors filed in one after another. Chu Yunshu's appearance drew quite a bit of attention. She sat in the front seat, together with her roommates. Xiaoyi looked at Chu Yunshu's face, feeling very concerned. Yunshu, you didn't sleep well last night, huh? Chu Yunshu nodded, subconsciously searching for something in the class. Because the lecture hall has tiered seating. She turned her head. Just then, her eyes met mine in the back corner of the classroom. But soon, both of them nervously turned their heads and avoided eye contact. Unconsciously, we both silently vowed in our hearts. This matter must be kept tightly to ourselves. I feel there must be something wrong with my mind. Otherwise, How could I be dreaming about school all day? And even holding someone's hand? At this moment, Chu Yunshu was also somewhat absent-minded. My mind is full of what happened last night. Being cold in real life doesn't mean she is a person without emotions. In fact, she thinks her emotional value was already fulfilled in the dream. The perfect boyfriend sketched out in the dream satisfied her. Even now, she still feels that the Jiang Shusi in her dream is the soulmate her subconscious created. As for why he looks like the junior from real life, as for the younger student, that remains unknown. Now, she feels a bit anxious. Because the dream is gradually affecting her reality. How could she do something like sleepwalking? She feels very guilty. If this continues, it will not only make her troubled, but also cause trouble for others. If she hadn't been abandoned by her mother as a child, she would definitely try to get to know me better. If he is very different from the dream version, then it would just make her give up her illusion. If the junior also dreams of being deeply liked by me, just like in a dream, she doesn't mind taking the step. There are two love-struck people in this classroom. I keep thinking about things. My thoughts are all over the place. Facing the open textbook on the desk, the spirit. Next, I will call a student to come up and do the experiment. Then write the principle on the blackboard. The analog circuit teacher looks at the students in the classroom. I was nervous inside. The answers to the test questions were already posted in the group chat yesterday. I guess someone can memorize them. He looks at the teachers in the corner responsible for recording. Can only confidently ask the students. Which student wants to come up and try? I didn't realize when my right hand was already raised high. But at this moment, my expression still is somewhat confused, frowning and pondering. Clearly lost in thought and distracted. As a result, the teacher called someone up to solve a problem. I raised my hand instinctively. Good. The student at the back. You come up and do it. The analog circuit teacher glanced around the classroom. Only a few students raised their hands. That was really frustrating. Didn't they send the answers to the third-year class too yesterday? So why aren't the third-year students eager today? He was counting on those with good average grades today. From third-year telecom class 2 to save face for himself. I saw a classmate approaching. Raise their hand just as his voice trailed off. His face instantly lit up with delight. I stood up instinctively. All eyes in the classroom locked on him. Shuxin. Cui Jin made way for me while whispering a reminder. What's wrong? I came back to my senses. I was just thinking about Senior Yunshu. Cui Jin said anxiously. Only third-year students should raise their hands. I realized late and thought, this is bad. How did I subconsciously raise my hand? But when I focused on the question on the blackboard, my anxious heart settled again. Whether sophomore or junior. As long as you can solve the problem, there's no issue. Under the gaze of my classmates in the classroom, I walked up to the front of the podium. I showed no sign of being intimidated at all. As long as it's not English class, he wasn't worried at all. How did Jiang Shusi get up there? Could he actually solve it? Few juniors raised their hands. Today's class covered material for next semester. We haven't studied this yet. The sophomores whispered quietly among themselves. The juniors were equally at a loss. They thought the script had gone wrong. They nervously sweated for the teacher. Xiaoyi's eyes widened. Yunshu. He's the junior who brought you milk tea. Chu Yunshu was also very surprised. How did he get up there? Immediately, she began to worry about Jiang Shusi. This is knowledge they haven't studied yet. I stepped onto the podium. Standing beside the projector, I asked. Teacher. Once you've done it, just write out the principle, right? Yes. The teacher nodded. Then, feeling uneasy, he added. Just follow what we usually learn, and it'll be fine. Make sure to memorize everything thoroughly. I sent you the questions yesterday. If there's a problem, we have to restart from that part. We'll need to find time later to re-record the lesson. I took a deep breath and immediately got into the zone. The operation began. His hands were projected onto the screen with perfect accuracy. His fingers were long, strong, and very steady. But as I continued, the analog circuit teacher sensed something was off. Although the method was correct, it didn't quite match the steps he posted in the group yesterday. To ensure nothing goes wrong, he posted the basic version that only prioritized correctness and efficiency. But I was working on the advanced version, which was more complex but produced better results. Neither method has a definitive right or wrong. Some steps require speed and simplicity. Some require precision and complexity. The teacher in charge of filming below raised his head. They all nodded to the analog circuit teacher, thinking to themselves, this guy is really something. Surely, he must have practiced a lot in private for this class. This Hansen practice, right? The juniors were also amazed and puzzled. The teacher even gave second-year students a hard time. Then his analog circuit credits in the future are guaranteed. The several roommates in the dorm looked at each other, then sighed with emotion. We knew Shusi was talented, but we didn't expect him to be this amazing already. If it weren't for English holding him back, he'd probably already be in our schools. SCC team by now. After I finished writing, I respectfully said to the teacher, "I finished. Teacher, please take a look." "Very good. Excellent. Student, what's your name?" "Jiang Shusi." "All right. I've remembered it." The analog circuit teacher nodded. Su Xiaoyi gazed at the perfect board writing with starry eyes. Yun Shu. He didn't expect this junior to write so nicely. He's definitely practiced for this class for a long time. Cui Jin considered for a moment then said, "I believe he already knew how. Without deliberately practicing. Last night, I briefly discussed the library with her. He spent a week studying in the library. Besides reading English books, he's also been studying professional texts. He learned this knowledge on his own. The knowledge from this class was self-taught by him. It can't be, right? This knowledge is taught in the second semester of sophomore year. I think he's just a proxy for the teacher. It looks like my teacher's help to me." Chu Yunshu looked determined. Then she suddenly had a thought and asked Su Xiaoyi. "But then I suddenly thought of something and asked Su Xiaoyi. Xiao Yi, what do you think about joining our SCC team?" Without hesitation, Xiaoyi replied. "Of course, it's a good idea. That must be good." Chu Yunshu, after thinking it over again, decided to visit Professor Zhao in the lab building again. Although she was somewhat nervous because of her crush. Although, due to fear of love, not planning to further explore this college, she still wanted to help Jiang Shusi fight for an opportunity. Officially, she is now the team leader representing Shanghai University. She should be looking for more promising team members for the team. Jiang Shusi already has knowledge equivalent to a junior and can apply it practically. He surpasses his teacher. He has potential. Personally, Jiang Shusi helped Wen Chiehui. Even if Wen Chiehui doesn't have a good relationship with her, she is still her junior. This favor must be returned. The SCC competition is important for students in the telecommunications major. It is an incredibly valuable opportunity to add a golden touch to one's resume. She wants to return this favor. So she grabbed Xiaoyi and knocked on Teacher Zhao's office door. "Teacher, last time you mentioned there was one spot for sophomores, right? Only one has been confirmed, right?" Chu Yunshu asked. "And that student failed the CT4 English test. So the list hasn't been finalized. I want to recommend someone under my identity as team leader." Zhao Weishan looked at Chu Yunshu, who came to him with regret and said, "Sorry about that. The sophomore spots have already been confirmed. One is the student who didn't pass level 4. The other is first in the grade." Was saying. Zhao Weishan, while handling another student, showed the information to Chu Yunshu. "The grades are unquestionable. Top of the major. Indeed meets the information college's criteria for selective recruitment." Chu Yunshu frowned slightly. "What about the other one?" "The other one is recommended by a professor in the department. Very authoritative. That student's practical skills are quite strong. Exactly the indispensable factor in the team." Upon hearing this, her brows furrowed even tighter. Deep down, she subconsciously doesn't have high hopes for the other. No matter how good he is, he hasn't finished learning it yet. Jiang Shusi is strong with junior-level knowledge. Is there anyone in sophomore year better than Jiang Shusi? She does not believe it. Practical skills don't mean everything. If the theoretical knowledge is lacking, it will be a burden. "Teacher, please reconsider. The student recommended by the professor. I can guarantee her ability. This is already set in stone. We're just waiting for him to pass the level 4 exam. The student I'm talking about must be better than the one you recommended, teacher. You should at least observe him." Chu Yunshu argued her point vigorously. But on Teacher Zhao's side, since Professor Zheng personally named him as a student, he must comply. Besides, he also hopes that the student he supports can shine and contribute. The cat can emit light and heat. Su Xiaoyi stood by silently, not daring to speak up. She wouldn't dare talk back to the teacher. Also, it was her first time seeing Yunshu argue with the teacher. Haven't they only met once? Is the junior really worth Yunshu going to such lengths to help? Zhao Weishan saw how persistent Chu Yunshu was. He took a deep breath. "Which class is the student you recommended from? What's his name? If he can't do well in this competition, I can arrange other contests for him. Besides, SCC only happens once a year. If it doesn't work out, we'll make him the team leader next year. You're already a senior, so it's a guaranteed thing." Chu Yunshu quietly asked Su Xiaoyi. "Which class was it that took classes with us today?" "Telecommunications Class 1. Teacher. It's Dechang Telecom, Class B. Telecom Class 1. Zhao Weishan was stunned. "Isn't that your own class?" "Your own class has someone who can specifically recommend Chu Yunshu." "What's his name?" "Jiang Shuzhen." Chu Yunshu answered without hesitation. Zhao Weishan turned his swivel chair and looked at Chu Yunshu. He sat upright, with a serious attitude. But his expression was puzzled yet amused. "Who are you talking about?" Near noon, a heavy rain fell over Shanghai City. My dorm mates looked out the window at the pouring rain. They sighed about the terrible weather. I actually went to the library to study. This perseverance will surely be rewarded. But in fact, I didn't go to the library. As soon as I left school, I went straight to the hospital. I carried my lunchbox and backpack as I pushed open Wen Chiehue's hospital room. I saw her wearing headphones and listening to English. I knew immediately. In the week we've known each other, she hasn't listened to anything else through her headphones. She only listens to English songs. How did you come here? Wen Chiehue saw my eyes widened in surprise. She took off her headphones. Your foot is swollen. I looked at the gloomy sky outside and made a joke. It rained just this noon. The window wasn't closed after yesterday, but it's fine. This is my fault, so I changed the timeline. Wen Chiehue seriously tapped her left foot with her knuckles. She knocked on her left foot. If I hadn't gone back last night to close the window, it definitely would have rained in the middle of the night. I would have lost the right to use my desk due to neglect. You went back last night to close the window because you were worried about being held responsible. Of course. You wouldn't think I was worried about those books. That's why I ran back, right? Wen Chiehue waved her hand. Then I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm the kind of person who thinks about myself first. I didn't argue, I just smiled, pulled over a chair and sat down, placed the lunchbox on the bedside table. No way. Although I don't see it the same way as you, I do agree that you should do your job well when you're in a position. I can only think that you are someone who values responsibility a lot. So if you were a stranger but noticed the window was left open, would you go back to close it? Wen Chiehue looked a bit curious. I nodded. Yes. But I wouldn't expect others to do the same. If you feel bad about yourself and go sacrifice, is that being a martyr? Suddenly I got choked up at this point. I felt saying such words in front of a girl was a bit crude. My expression was a bit awkward. Unexpectedly, Wen Chiehue took it on openly. So you're a saint, sister. Why are you shy? You're a guy. We're friends, no need to be so awkward. I didn't expect her to be even more easygoing than me. She's quite an interesting girl. She's cool and pretty. She's that kind of cool, beautiful girl. The face reflects the heart. Her personality is lively and cheerful. Being with her naturally makes you feel happy. After having eaten, I sat with Wen Chiehue for a while, then hurried back to school. These days, I have been going to the hospital to bring meals to Wen Chiehue. Over time, I also realized the girl doesn't seem to have the nasty personality the senior said she did. Perhaps there was some misunderstanding. But it's not right to meddle in other people's family matters. As the National Day holiday approached, the hospital had some good news. Wen Chiehue's injuries have almost healed. She was able to get up and walk. Every cloud has a silver lining. The good news came mixed with some less positive news. Teacher Zhao called me to the office during break time. He glanced out at the light rain outside, then turned to me and asked, "How have you been doing with your English lately?" I told him the truth. The result is average. Zhao Weishan paused in thought after hearing that. I sighed. Keep working hard. I called you here today to tell you something. Don't neglect your professional knowledge while studying English. I've looked it over. You'll finish your CT4 exam in December. There are 2.5 months left. According to the rules, you can only join the official team to work together. The project for the SCC competition. So, your English score is very important. I understand. You must be officially confirmed as a team member. Only then can you get involved in the projects for the competition. Otherwise, it might be considered leaking exam questions. Or you could participate in the projects with the team first. But you didn't pass CET4 in the end. That would be a big problem. Zhao Weishan continued. Even if you manage to pass CET4 eventually. But before that, if the project for the competition is delayed because of your CET4, causing a setback, the teachers will also be under a lot of pressure. I listened silently. He doesn't want to give up this rare opportunity. The teacher took on the pressure for me. Then I absolutely can't let the teacher down. Zhao Weishan could tell from my determined look. He had already achieved the purpose of calling me here today. He showed a relieved and pleased expression. Also, I want to give you a heads up in advance. According to the rules, you're not allowed to participate in the competition project right now. But the juniors in their third year have already started working on the initial design drafts. Once you pass level 4, you'll have to catch up with their progress. I came out of the office. I went downstairs and arrived at the big workshop. I was getting ready to go back to the dorm. Actually, I'm feeling quite heavy-hearted right now. After all, there are so many burdensome things waiting for me in the future. In this free university life of mine, I chose a path different from most people's. This path leads to light but is full of thorns. Many stand at the starting point, shaking their heads and hesitating. I was just about to get the umbrella I left at the lobby entrance last year. Suddenly, a figure smashed through the subtle light. Rain curtain rushed into the gate. A fragrant breeze hit my face. Before I had time to see the person's face clearly, a familiar voice rang out. Student Jiang. That voice was both surprised and delighted. Only then did I realize that the person was actually Chu Yunshu. I was stunned. Then I greeted her. Hello, senior. I didn't expect it to be so coincidental. It seems since I dreamt about the study group that day. After kissing, I was given water on the playground. The number of times I ran into Chu Yunshu had increased. Just as I greeted her and was about to leave, Chu Yunshu quickly called out to me. Student Jiang, please do me a favor. I was stunned. Then I became serious. Senior, you tell me. Come with me. Glanced around both ways. Chu Yunshu found an empty laboratory and opened the door to go in. I followed behind her. Only then did I notice that the senior seemed to be holding something in her arms. As soon as she entered, she hurriedly pulled down the zipper of her jacket, took out a pack of documents from inside, placed the bagged items on the table. Come here. Come sit here. Her tone was slightly anxious. I found a place to sit down. Then I opened the document bag, took out the items inside. They were university lab reports and some unbound papers. Can you help me check if these documents got wet? These documents are very important. Please, Jiang, I'm counting on you. Looking at senior with eyes full of hope because of her own mistake. And eyes full of hope, even with a hint of pleading. Any guy would find it impossible to refuse. At that moment, I vaguely felt like I saw the senior from my dreams sitting next to me. Then I began helping her review those reports and papers. Make sure to check carefully. Chu Yunshu instructed seriously. Take your time, it's okay. Don't miss a single page. Alright, I nodded. I was very confident about being meticulous. I will take it seriously. Girls' dormitory. Su Xiaoyi came back from outside. She folded up her umbrella and put it into the rain cover. Washed her hands in the restroom and dried her hair. Her roommate asked her. It's raining outside, what did you go out for? She went with Yunshu to the laboratory building. Su Xiaoyi, while drying her hair, said. What are you guys doing in the lab building in this weather? To work on the SCC competition project. The roommate sighed. So dedicated. No wonder Yunshu was chosen. Not the competition project. Su Xiaoyi recalled what happened a few minutes ago. Yunshu didn't know what she was doing at the time. Anyway, she didn't seem to plan to leave the dorm. But she received a message and asked me to go out with her, saying teacher Zhao needed the materials. But what's strange is, she was still 10+ meters away from the lab building. She told me to come back. She ran to the hall and tranced through the light rain. Besides, why does teacher Zhao want our draft? There were really too many documents in the file folder. I looked for a long time but only finished about half. Luckily, I don't have class later, so I don't have to worry about missing class. Besides, senior seemed to know he wasn't in a hurry. She didn't rush me at all. Instead, she let me take my time, carefully, to check if any of the materials had been soaked by the rain. I casually flipped through some unimportant literature to pass the time. As I read on, I couldn't help but sigh inwardly. The junior year lab reports were so much more detailed than sophomore year. The depth and breadth of this major were just crazy. It's hard to imagine having to learn so much in just 1 year. Chu Yunshu, sitting beside me, let out a sigh of relief when she saw this. See, the more carefully you look, the better. It's best to have all this stuff engraved in your mind. Chu Yunshu felt that she was full of contradictions at the moment. On that day, she learned about the candidate from teacher Zhao. It turned out to be Jiang Shusi after all. She also understood what Jiang Shusi would face next. The heavy academic workload ahead. So, she instinctively wanted to help him. The more she thought about it, the more she considered. She started making excuses for herself, saying it was to repay a favor. Plus, she still needed to take care of her little sister's relationship. But she couldn't deceive herself. She knew very well that she had developed some feelings for this junior. But her fear of falling in love made her unwilling to admit it. She also didn't want to acknowledge her feelings. She tried her best to deny her inner emotions. The trauma from her childhood was too severe. She couldn't alleviate this fear of love on her own. So, she thought to herself. Having helped her junior this time, she felt the favor was repaid. But she absolutely didn't want to do anything secretive at night again. No more sneaky handholding or ambiguous gestures. Anything related to love or romance was strictly prohibited. She could only have contact with him regarding study and competition projects. Senior. Sorry to bother you. Can I listen to the song for a while? My sudden words interrupted her train of thought. Chu Yunshu snapped back to herself and looked at me. She looked a bit puzzled. I want to show senior everything after just one listen. No need to delay you from delivering the materials to the teacher. Usually, listening to music helps me concentrate on studying. That way, I can pay more attention and see more clearly. Chu Yunshu murmured softly. It's okay to listen a few more times. Senior, what did you say? Nothing much. Chu Yunshu quickly responded. Listen. Do whatever makes you comfortable. No need to ask for my opinion. I then took out my headphones, opened the app and continued listening to music. In the quiet laboratory, every tiny sound would be amplified. When close by, I could hear even the sound inside the headphones clearly. Chu Yunshu's rosy ears twitched slightly. Like a little fox that smelled food. Her eyes lit up. What song are you listening to? Someone Like Me. What's wrong? I only recently started listening to it. It was only after saying that I realized. That senior once said in a dream she likes listening to Mao Bai's songs. That's why I started trying to change my style. Then I watched senior's reaction out of the corner of my eye. While hoping, I also blamed myself. For starting to daydream again. Chu Yunshu was equally stunned. This is the song she likes to listen to. How could there be such a coincidence? Did she tell the junior that at the open-air KTV that night? I can't remember clearly. Because my heart was beating a bit fast. It affected my thinking. So just now, the feeling she had forcibly locked down. The feeling started to stir again. Trying to break through the mental shackles I've been stuck in for over a decade. She also longs to be loved. She's just afraid of getting hurt. After much inner conflict. She finally mustered the courage. Classmate Jiang. Can you share one earphone with me? I was momentarily stunned upon hearing this. After a moment, I hurriedly replied. Study group. If you don't mind. I'm already a bit embarrassed. I never expected the senior to make such a bold request. Chu Yunshu gently took it. Then put the earphones on her ears. Her movements were clumsy and cautious unlike usual. This was her first time listening to music with a boy. This was her first time sitting shoulder to shoulder with a boy. This was necessary contact for studying. Chu Yunshu warned herself with the intense sound of her heartbeat. Not to overthink it. The junior just said. Listening to music helps him concentrate. I am helping him study. So he can better review this project draft. It's to return a favor. This concerns academics. It's a matter related to studying. How could academic matters imply improper thoughts? At this moment, my heart was pounding along with Xiang's. Even the hardest stone should feel the atmosphere is quite ambiguous. Could it be that the senior has some feelings for me too? I absolutely can't think in that direction. I shouted inside my heart. If I keep having unrealistic fantasies about the senior like this, my mind will have problems. Just met a few times and already reached out to hold her hand. If this goes on, it's really not acceptable. Who knows what more perverted things I might do later. But I couldn't reject this moment. I only wished the remaining materials were a bit thicker. For the rain outside to never stop. Let the impatient teacher Zhao stay impatient a little longer. I couldn't keep it up, teacher. Please wait a bit longer. Yunshu clearly knew that because of her own fear of intimacy. She shouldn't entangle too much with the junior. Something like two people sharing one pair of earphones to listen to music is very ambiguous. I don't know if this is good or bad. But on a rainy day, being able to sit quietly and listen to some music for a while. That's very romantic. She really likes romance.